So far this semester, we've seen different ways to deploy our website. We deployed it through a live server. And what we're going to do now for this final project is we're going to create a repo here in GitHub with the idea that when you leave this classroom, you'll have a resume piece that will be a live served website that you could share with potential employers and that kind of a thing. So the idea here is that GitHub is going to give us a place to populate a live or to serve a live website. So we have to do it a little bit differently than we've done other repos. When you create your new repository, the repository name you're going to give it is your username. My username is Markley Classroom, so include that, .github.io. So you need that whole piece. This is a special name that you need in order for GitHub to create what's called pages or a live website for you to share with whomever in the future. Now, I already have one that exists, so I can't create it, but you would create it like you normally would. Public, make sure it's public, obviously. And just like we've done before, we're going to leave these blank if you are initializing it in your local computer, which we've done for the last several assignments. And so once that's done, I'm not going to actually create it because I already have, then it just becomes a normal repo, just like you've done and experienced with all of your other projects. I also have included in my particular repo all of the other projects that we've done throughout the semester so that I have them available for this public website that I'm creating. The only other catch now is, and this is relatively new, we need to go into settings. So I'm going to go into the settings tab. And I'm going to go down here to this selection called pages. And we have to tell GitHub that we want to publish GitHub pages. So here is a description of GitHub pages if you want to see a little bit more about it. So then what we're going to do is we need to, you might not, or I think I've already done it. So you might have something here that says public pages or publisher pages or something like that. I was hoping that mine was going to be refreshed, but obviously it's not. So once you click on the link that was here, if there is one there, then you tell GitHub where your files are stored. In other words, mine were on the master branch. So if you have a main branch, you want to say, mine was on main. If you have master, you select master. So mine was on the main branch and you want to select the root. So if you have an option to do other things, make sure you select the root and then you're going to want to choose save. So since mine wasn't showing up with that, I'm going to put this on pause and show you what you need to do next because I can't click save. So you're going to want to click save. All right, so once you hit save, then this is what you should see. GitHub pages source saved. And what will happen is it might take a little bit of time. So this is where it's going to show up when it's ready for your page to deploy. So it might take a few minutes. So I'm going to put mine on pause and so I can show you when this part shows up. All right, I kept refreshing the page and nothing happened. So eventually what I did was I went back into my Markley Classroom. I guess, I don't know if it just takes a few minutes or if it took me leaving the page to come back. Like I said, this is relatively new. So then eventually I clicked here and I came back into settings. And I have to go back down to pages. And this is what I was expecting to finally see. So now it's letting me know that my site is live at this address. So now my live web page that I could give to, it's being served from GitHub's live server, and that's the address. So when I click on that address now, then I have a web page, which is your final project, which then will linger on beyond this classroom so that you can use it for, for interviews or that kind of a thing. I'm not sure if I have that. I do have that hooked up. Excellent. So you can, in your repos, let me make sure that that makes sense. So in your repos, remember that just like we did in the live server, you can make sure that you have, I think I started that with the beginning. This is kind of unorganized, but hopefully it's making sense. So if I go back into my repos, and I go back into my classroom, I made sure in my local folder that I had, before I pushed to Markley Classroom, that I had all of the other projects that we worked on that I want to demonstrate in my videos or from my live website. And so from there, I was able to go to my address. And from my address then, each of these is linking to those folders. So if you see down here, I simply have a link. Let's just see what I'm doing. So I'm going to right click on here and go to view page source. And you should see from schedule, just like we did in our other videos, I referenced the folder name. You just kind of show this all together so you can see it. So in my repository, I have a folder called schedule. I referenced that folder here in my anchor tag. And since there is an index in schedule, let me just show you. So since there is an index inside schedule, and I did a target blank, when I click on that schedule, it's going to open up that folder in a new tab, and it's going to demonstrate the project that I did for our schedules. So hopefully that'll be helpful, and make sure that you do this obviously before you get started on creating your repository, because you need to make sure that you name it the proper thing.